Welcome to Big Point Training, the mental training program for tennis players in tournaments. My name is Magnus Einhoff. In my first video I talked about sustaining in competition. Today I want to analyze another mental requirement in tennis matches. The training session for today is the unknown opponent in competition. I will describe how you plan and prepare for a match against a player you cannot assess. Let's take a closer look on this specific situation. It is a situation which you often have to face in matches. You don't know how your opponent will play tactically, and you haven't got enough information about his style of play. Further, it is difficult assessing your opponent's play level. If you want to assess another player right in respect of his style of play and play level, it is necessary that you have already played with him. An unknown player is probably actually unknown, although you have just seen the player before because of missing information. So only the direct experience of playing with him will make you sure how he reacts in matches and if your forces will be sufficient to win. Now we are facing three mental questions which derive from matches against unknown opponents. First, how do you should plan against an unknown opponent? Second, which mistakes should be avoided in planning? And third, what is the right attitude in this situation? Let's have a closer look on this first question. What will be the best plan against an unknown opponent? If you don't know less or nothing about your opponent, or your informations are older than 3 months, it is more reasonable to prepare on a difficult match. So you are not expecting a victory or a defeat over 2 straight sets. It is necessary to eat humble pie because you are forced to believe in the most difficult situation of a game, expecting 3 sets or playing tiebreak. The most difficult situation for your head is fighting over 3 sets. There's a big advantage in this planning. You don't underestimate or overestimate your chances to win in the preparation of the match. That means you and your opponent will get a chance of 50-50 to win. For your mental stability this makes sense because not a straight win nor a straight defeat will demand more mental energy than a 50-50 match over 3 sets. According to these considerations, the planning of the match is clear. A plan of 3 sets, the best preparation for unrateable matches against unknown opponents. This is more obvious when you look at the planning alternatives. You could plan to win. This is a planning which is often used by unprepared matches. But what will happen in the match if the opponent is equal in forces or even better? If your mind sees a deviation because you are losing a set or facing a deficit, you will react discontent or even with frustration. The planning in the preparation of the match influences the motivation and emotional stability, especially facing setbacks. This brings us to the second question of our training session. Which mistakes should be avoided in planning? If you plan to win and all your thoughts go to winning, this will only build a stable psyche against inferior athletes. If you are getting shortly in difficult against a superior or an equivalent player, your head will just give alarm. So a bad planning leads to motivational problems if you don't accept that an equivalent player or a superior opponent will sometimes go ahead in the match. You are producing consequently discontent and negative emotions if your goals in the preparation are bad adjusted. A deviation from your goal winning leads definitely and immediately to discontent and anger. This will be bad for your performance and will influence the result of the match negatively. So we now come to the third question. What is the right attitude against an unknown opponent? We know that the right strategy is planning over 3 sets, which is also the right plan against equivalent players. In this case, you know in advance that a set will go into the tiebreak or losing a set. In this case, there will be no deviation of planning in your psyche and your attitude will be fighting for the whole time. The tough fighting from the very beginning and over the whole time is automatically connected with a strategy of 3-set games. Obviously, winning a match on eye level with your opponent will only be managed if your motivation of fighting doesn't diminish. This of course requires coping with deficits and losing sets. If you are planning on 3 sets, it is a normal situation if your opponent wins a set or temporarily is in the lead. Players manage in this way difficult games better while showing no negative reactions. Simultaneously, it gives you protection to feel too early as the winner. If you are in the lead or won the first set, you could be content and the motivation is for a short period decreased. The planning on the third set will remind you that the danger of losing is still existing. You see that it's important to manage the mental strategy and attitude towards an unknown opponent. Now I'd like to wish you much success in playing against unknown players with your new knowledge. Just have a look on my homepage, you will find there more information for tennis players. If you like my video, give me a thumb up and recommend your friends my video. If you want, I will send you a PDF with the content of my video, so you can read it before matches. You will find more of my videos on YouTube with different mental questions for tennis players in tournaments. See you soon!